it. Alright, so let's take a look. Here we are at Sega game at night here in Chinatown in Yokohama. Let's go inside. We'll be in first person. And here's the gate, very cool looking gate. And yeah, those details are fairly accurate according to my research as I was looking up reference. House of the Dead, Scarlet Dawn. I don't know what that is. It sounds really cool. I guess it's an arcade game. Hey, they should put a House of the Dead game playable here. This one looks really neat too. Wonderland Wars. Something about this looks like a mobile game to me. I don't know. Although it wouldn't make sense to advertise mobile games at an arcade, right? What we got here? This looks cool. What kind of game is this? My? Is it a rhythm game or something? I should look that up. It looks interesting. It looks like a laundry machine or something. Summer. What is this? It looks like a idle kind of game. Night Trap. Is Wonderland Wars a real game? I don't know. It looks really cool though. It looks really neat. I like the poster. That's evocative of Art Nouveau and Mucha, the artist. Especially the treatment of the text there. Very, very Art Nouveau. This is just the outside. Unfortunately, the inside of this arcade is fairly small. I've been here before, but yeah, it's not terribly large once you actually get inside. Here's all the sights and sounds of the arcade, but unfortunately, yeah, not too large. It would be neat if you could really get into it. If you could really... It'd be neat if they really made it large, like multiple floors, and, you know, really accurate to what the arcades were like. So here we have Space Harrier. Oh yeah, and back to my previous point, like, you know, every day, every few months, I feel like we hear about arcades in Japan closing down, right? Some of the big famous ones as well have been closing down. So, you know, I think it would be really cool if Sega or someone else kind of recreated the arcades, at least in Yakuza or some other VR kind of experience, so that they'll be an archive in a sense for these games, so that they'll at least live on digitally in some fashion. Here we have Hang On. Is this Hang On? Super Hang On. And yeah, like, look at how amazing they've, like, recreated the cabinet, so to speak, the machine here, right? It's very detailed and accurate. And I think that's really cool, too, that Sega has gone to that length to really, you know, replicate the cabinets. So that, again, like, you know, maybe a long time ago I saw this cabinet, maybe, but obviously any opportunity to use this machine is long gone now, right? Outside of maybe like a museum, an arcade museum or something. But it's neat that they're here in this game at least. So what else do we have here? Virtua Fighter 5. So how about we play some of these games? And yeah, we'll make this like a tiny, like a sub video, I guess, right? So let's do a bit of okay, we'll do this, the crane game, which, by the way, I really suck at this. Like, other games, the other crane games have been fairly easy in the past Yakuza games, but for some reason it's actually pretty tricky. You only get oh, Bacon, your kind of game, the idle one. They just needed to be horses. That's the only other thing that they needed to be, to really rope you into that game. Oh, you bastard. Alright. I mean, do we continue to try and get this guy? We kind of have to, right? I'm very stubborn like that. Come on. Yeah? 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 Oh, Okay, we got one more chance. What are we gonna do? I think that guy's a lost cause. Okay, let's get this pink one. Ooh, I should have shifted the camera over. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I did it. Yay. Bunch on. The Java Sparrow. Ooh, I got kindness for that. That's interesting. I didn't think you would get like a buff to a stat by getting one of those. Alright, let's try Space Harrier. 100 yen, baby. It's a good deal. We'll give a shot to each of these games, and then that will be a short little tour of the Sega Chinatown Arcade. I think it's called Game. I don't know if it's still around. You know, so many arcades have closed in Japan. Here in North America, arcades are pretty much dead. So, you know, there was a certain degree of comfort in knowing that, at least in Japan, that arcades were still around, right? Oop, how do we insert coins? Oop. Oh my god, what am I doing?
Welcome to the fantasy.
Oh shit. Wow, the movement is so smooth. Yeah, well, there was a degree of comfort in knowing that at the very least, despite North America, Canada, US, you know, arcades were dying, that hey, you know, Japan is still going strong, right? But yeah, oh, I died.
Get ready.
Get ready. Ready? Man, how would you make a modern Space Harrier? There's in Bayonetta 1, there's a segment of the game where it's effectively Space Harrier, really. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they do play this music during that segment. And I had to do it multiple times to get the platinum, because I think you have to clear that section without getting hit once. And it was annoying as hell. Whoa, is this a mouse? It's a dragon. Holy, look at this, Miss Kobayashi. Why are you so mean? Not Kobayashi, Toru! I gotta hit the head, I think. Remember there was a time when coming to the arcades was like almost like going to a movie theater, going and seeing a movie, right? Like because much like going to a theater, you could, you know, the screen was something you couldn't get at home. Like, same thing with the arcades. Like, going to the arcades was like, you can't get graphics like this at home, kid. You gotta go to the arcades, dude. And just imagine like seeing this game and being like, shit, I am so blown away by these graphics. When I go home, I'm gonna just be depressed and play Mario because the graphics suck compared to Space Harrier here. This is insane. And obviously, you know, here in 2021, these graphics, you know, aren't as special, aren't as amazing as they once were, but there's something very charming about this. All right. Let's exit this minigame and catch up with the messages. This game makes me want Chinese food, because they make a big deal out of how good Chinese cooking is. Night Trap, 100 yen for an old game. That's a lot. 100 yen for an old game. I guess so. It should be more like 50. Like, well, I don't know how much lower. Like, can they even go? Is there a? How much lower can they get? I wonder. 50 yen? Do they even have 50 yen denominations? I have no idea. Look at this, the load times to load out of the game and load up the game world again. That's fine, that's fine. See, that's the advantage of the PS4, is that you can reflect on your life while you're loading. See, the PS5, you can't do that. You have no time for self-reflection about what you're doing with your life, about the state of the world, about the characters and their motivations. There's no time. It's too fast to load times. That's a PS4 only feature. So now let us play Super Hang-On. Only 100 yen. Let's do it. Ooh, listen to that music. Oh, I have to select music. Oh, what are the controls, by the way? Start game. Turbo is R1. Accelerator is circle. Okay. I'm hanging on. Whoa. You don't use the analog stick for this. By the way, in my research for the real Sega arcades, I happened upon a very interesting article about like Sega's involvement with like what did they call it? It was kind of like this, almost like a World's Fair, but it was more like for electronics in Japan. And Sega invented like some really unique arcade games and stuff. It was really cool to see like these one-off, very unique arcade cabinets and games that Sega made that only lasted for like maybe a year or so, because they were so hard to maintain, because they were so very elaborate and stuff. There was this one game where if you imagine a real-life track, like kind of like a miniaturized track, and remote control cars would run on the track, right? To give you a kind of an idea of the scale, like, yeah, they were like remote control size cars. And then people would control it. There was using cabinets, like they retrofitted like a racing game cabinet. Oh, I crashed. And each of those remote control cars actually had a camera on it, right? So the kids playing in the cabinet were getting the live feed of what the car was seeing as it was going through the track. So there's no like video game imagery, right? Very cool, very interesting, but again, that was something that did not last very long because it was very difficult to maintain. Let's do another round of this. Let's do another round because I kind of botched that. And reading that article made me think about how, Sega often is regarded as like not Nintendo, right? As these guys who, they're kind of viewed in some respects as like, yeah, basically they're not Nintendo. They're not the big dog, right? But when I was reading articles like that about how like they made these super unique arcade games for like that for one time only, and also Sega has a very long history of making like mechanical arcade games, for lack of a better term. They're kind of like arcade games. They kind of predate like modern arcade games, where they were based off of like gears and physical interactions. yeah, it made me think about how, you know, they're a very unique company that really do have an identity of their own. I guess I always kind of knew that, but seeing, like, looking into their history, it made me think, like, they have such a really rich history that people don't really know about. They kind of view Sega as, like, their starting point was, like, you know, Sonic or something, right? Or even, like, the Master System, where in fact, like, they have a very long and rich history that predate that. And you know, I guess you could say the same for Nintendo too, right? You know, Nintendo is a company that's more than 100 years old now, and they've been making, like, toys and Hanafuda cards and all sorts of stuff well before, you know, they became the company that we know them today, right? It's just interesting how these companies are so old, and we know them for one thing, but in fact, for many, many years, they had been an entirely different thing. And who knows, in the future, these companies, Nintendo, Sega, even Sony, Microsoft, they could become something else entirely in the next 10 to 20 years. Like, you know, in the 80s, I understood Sony to be a company that made Walkmans and televisions, right? But these days, they're probably better known for, like, being the anime company, right? Like, they bought out Funimation and Crunchyroll. So yeah, they're basically the kings of anime at this point. They're like Disney Plus. They're almost like Disney when it comes to anime now. And then, of course, video games and movies and music and stuff. But yeah, like, the whole brand identity of Sony as a company that made audio equipment, whether it be Walkmans or stereos and stuff, and even TVs, it's not really their thing anymore. They still are involved in those businesses, but yeah, I would say it's not their main money making venture. It's just interesting. And, you know, Microsoft, obviously, they didn't start off as a video game company. Alright, well, that's a rant and a half. This is the last game for our little excursion into Club Sega. It's Virtua Fighter, and it's also only 100 yen to play, so let's do it. Sega. You can actually access this content straight off the bat. Wow, look at this shit. Boosh, final showdown. Bacon, the audio equipment is still good. It's just not that well advertised. I see. Pai-chan, Lao-chan. Oh god, we're timed. Where is Leon? That's who I used to play. Go Hinagami. Breakable full fence 12 by 12. So I don't really play Virtua Fighter. I mean, I used to play a little bit at the arcades, but I don't know shit about this game, so I might get washed immediately. I guess it's worth mentioning. Ooh. Oh, let's view the controls. Oh my god. Let's go back. I don't even know what all that was about. So there's a block button. Oh, this is it. Okay, there's a block button. It's like in Mortal Kombat. Okay, we've got a spring kick. Got a down. Ooh. Knockout. Nice. Speaking of Sony, I heard it brought Crunchyroll. Yeah, that was kind of in the works for a very long time, and only like today maybe did the whole thing come through. So yeah, as I was saying, they're kind of like the Disney of anime at this point, at least as far as distribution goes. Crunchyroll doesn't actually produce anime, as far as I know. They only, you know, they're just a you know, like a service to broadcast it, really, much like Netflix or whatever. So, oh cool, look at this place. I don't know much about... Oh, I was gonna call him Ganryu. That's not Ganryu. Ganryu's Tekken. This is T. Arashi. Excellent. So, it's worth mentioning that this game actually got a remaster of sorts, just fairly recently. What's it called? Like VF5, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate? And it's actually, it was actually developed by the Ryuga Gotoku, studio, team, the people that make, the Yakuza games. And it uses the engine too. I'm not sure what the engine is called. Is it called like Dragon Engine or something? What a knucklehead! So that's pretty cool that that the game came back and it has flashier graphics. Like, you know, I think these graphics are actually pretty okay, but the new version has, you know, has improved graphics. Like the lighting is better. The models look a little more sophisticated, I guess, but they didn't go too crazy. It still feels like Virtua Fighter. They didn't like suddenly reinvent the wheel and make the game look like Mortal Kombat or something in terms of like realism. So I'm just mashing, by the way. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna say that I'm doing well. I'm just mashing. Eventually someone's gonna beat me, and that'll be that, but it's fun. Like, I mean, if you really put in the time into Virtua Fighter, I think it could be a very rewarding game, but obviously I'm just messing around in this game to see how far I can get. It's pretty cool that, like, they put in the full freaking game. This is a new character that I'm not familiar with, Eileen. It looks like she's kind of based off of like a monkey style of fighting. How do I throw? Oh, okay, I figured it out. It's block plus something. Oh, is Eileen gonna be the one to put me out of my... I was gonna say misery. I'm not miserable right now. This is fine. Also, the backgrounds in the ultimate version of VF5 that they released recently look really nice. Ooh. This Eileen character actually seems like she might be fun to play. I always like these monkey-style fighting techniques, fighting styles. I always find that really fun. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, she got me. My mashing didn't save me. That's okay. Ugh. Quit. Salty. So yeah, I think that'll be it for my little tour of this arcade. I think it would be really great if they made like a full-sized arcade that really reproduced the look and the scale of the actual Japanese, like, you know, arcades. But you know, for what it is, it's pretty neat that you can come in here and play a couple games. You know, a full Virtua Fighter arcade game, something like that. If you told me, like, you know, like the teenager version of me that you could do that, I would just laugh in your face, because that would be ridiculous. That would sound crazy. And yet here we are in 2021 with a fully playable Virtua Fighter that you can play online, even inside of a Yakuza game. So yeah, that was the Sega Chinatown arcade. Pretty neat. There we are, at night.